Crush me, I read good and I'm not okay. The manga chapter that breaks people. Despairing cycle. Is tragedy on steroids. All of these titles are from multiple videos talking about Good Night Poon Poon, except for a couple that are talking about this new series called Boys Abyss. Our main character Reiji was born in the countryside of Japan. He spent his life believing he can never leave his town. He can't leave his mom behind with his shut-in brother and demented grandmother, and he can't escape Jen, a childhood friend of his that uses Reiji as his pawn for anything Jen needs. So in order to cope with his life, he lives vicariously through his friend Sakuko that has dreams of moving out of town and into Tokyo to become a famous novelist. And he also lives through Acrylic, a young startup idol group, and its main member being Nagi Aoe. After being sent by Jen to buy him some cigarettes and seeing some suspicious homeless guy following a gas station clerk, he sees the clerk giving the guy expired food. He looks at the clerk's face and it's Nagi Aoe. Nagi just moved into the town and wants Reiji to show her around. After showing her around, she asks, "Say Reiji, wanna come and together?" I want to kill myself. Now, Boys Abyss isn't a clean linear story, much like Good Night Poon Poon, which is built within drama but keeps a linear narrative. Boys Abyss is messy, disgusting, filthy, and depressing, but no matter how terrible and abusive the story gets, it still keeps me hooked. It keeps me reading chapter by chapter. To give a hypothetical, it's much like a car crash. It's terrible, and obviously I don't wish for it to happen to anybody, but I just can't look away when it happens. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is my most depressing read or my most abusive read, which honestly is kind of closer to the second one, but I will say Boys Abyss is a story that will keep you there because of the insanity infused story that it keeps on feeding you. Now, throughout the series, you see a lot of questions being answered, such as the mystery behind the town, why Nagi is in that town, and why can't Reiji leave are all questions that are answered throughout the story, with the beginning being the Lover's Abyss. The story of the Lover's Abyss is basically a pair of lovers that committed jumping in a river in that town that later on turns into something much bigger than it seemed. And that's what makes the series much more interesting than a depressing series for the sake of being depressing. What I personally enjoy the most is how the story behind this town slowly unravels through extremely hectic storytelling. Talking about why Jen is the way he is, the truth behind Reiji's mom's long shifts, and the truth behind his shut-in brother. Just one example, the shut-in brother. He has a tendency of getting violent and never comes out of his room, but why? This is just a pause to let you know. If you want literally zero spoilers, skip to this timestamp. Thanks. It's because Reiji's mom makes him stay there even though he doesn't want to, leading to later on in the story him begging Reiji for help and money to be able to leave that town and do literally anything with his life. All of these storylines are slowly unraveled in such a way that it keeps your curiosity thinking and wondering what will happen to Sakuko. Will she make it out of the town? What will happen to Reiji? Will he be able to leave that toxic environment, etc.? Now, I personally can relate to Reiji, and no, not in this part or this part or this part, maybe this part or this part, but this part. I heavily fear being stuck in one place for extended periods of time. It might be the king's castle, but I just don't like feeling stuck. It's boring, it's slightly tiring, and I get this feeling of desperation to move on. I understand the feeling of being stuck in one spot. I understand the feeling of having to stay due to certain circumstances. And what the series shows the best is the anxiety behind it. The nervousness of what the fuck you can do with the cards you were dealt, with that later turning into conformity to simply make your life easier. And Reiji depicts this fear perfectly throughout the story. From the beginning trying to find a way out of his situation, and at the end of the current chapters where he just gets accustomed to the lifestyle that is set up for him. It's perfectly depicted, and accidentally or not, each character depicts their hopelessness throughout their character development. And just as a couple of examples, Sakuko losing weight not because she wanted to, but because her parents keep her stuck in her room literally doing nothing. Reiji just overall looking disheveled after literally every situation possible, and Jen looking like a horrible before and after picture. There's massive differences in each character and shows what the series depicts amazingly as well. Hopelessness, not only in these long monologues about how hopeless each character's situation is, but also in the slow downfall to what I like to call insanity. Now, apart from all the characters I already mentioned, there's actually quite a big cast. The parents of Sakuko that are partially overprotective, limiting her from her true potential. This teacher that is trying to help Reiji in the best way possible and try to help him to get out of the situation that he's in. It gets way darker as the story goes on. Nagi, although most of the story she's put to the side to develop Reiji and Sakuko and Jen's stories, she still plays quite an important role in lighting a fire in Reiji that causes this desperation to move on with his life. Now, the way that I see this story is like a massive puzzle. The author bit by bit gives you each piece to the puzzle that slowly lets you build a story with what happened from the beginning in Lover's Abyss to present day with Reiji. The writing that this author does is absolutely amazing. I love how every single chapter, at least so far, has been just another piece of the puzzle and you slowly build a story for yourself. Because personally, I don't like stories where the author over-explains everything and holds my hand the whole time while telling me what to do and what to think. This story gives you all the puzzle pieces it could possibly give you in one chapter per week, but at the end of the day, it's up to your own interpretation to figure out what the fuck is happening here.